Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Steelheads Weekly with Darius Dominguez and Mark Freitas. Mark, how you doing this week, buddy?
I'm doing well on this lovely Monday night at 6:46 p.m.
Yes,
I
recording
believe.
live on YouTube. No, not really, but yep, it was another great week for the Steelheads. Well, pretty great. Can't complain too much. We'll get into it. The Steelheads get 4 of a possible 6 points on the weekend at 3-3. They also clinched the playoffs, which was great. And, they're getting a lot of depth scoring, and a lot of the depth players are coming up big for them, so we'll get into that this week. But, Mark, what did you think of last weekend? It was a pretty good weekend again for the Steelheads.
It was a pretty good weekend minus Saturday. Yeah, no, we went to the game on Friday.
Yes, we were there.
They dominated Niagara pretty bad. And it was a chippy game. And that was a game that we said that they should have won. They should win, and they did win it. So that was a good way to start the Friday for Mississauga.
Hmm.
Um, and then Saturday came around, I should say, and they got humbled by the Barrie Colts for some weird reason. I don't know if you agree with this, but like regardless of where Barrie is, they can't beat them. It's sort of like their Ottawa Senators, like compared to the Leafs. It's kind of weird. And it was a game that they needed to win, should have won. They got blown out 4-1. As well as there was a suspension that we'll get into
Oh, yeah.
later on.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Sunday, that was a good game yesterday against Sudbury. It was back and forth, chippy, lots of hitting, lots of fighting. Even in the third period, it was scrappy.
Yeah.
So a lot of their players showed up and showed out when they needed it.
And like you said, like that game against Sudbury on Sunday, very playoff like very scrappy,
Yes.
and both teams knew that they needed the win for the Steelheads to get that win against the Wolves in regulation is huge in terms of the Eastern standings, because it's crazy. Like the difference between 1 and 6th is like 5 points. It's insane. Like,
Yeah, and they're not out of it yet.
no, I mean the
They
Steelheads
out of it, I should
could
say.
still finish first. It's pretty, like, mathematically. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but mathematically, anyone could still finish first. It's pretty incredible. After 6th place, it's pretty cemented. But like you said too, like the thing with Barrie, it's pretty interesting. Like their kryptonite so far this year, they just can't find a way to play a good game against them. It just seems like Barry's game plan works really well against the Steelheads. It's been weird this year to watch that. But going back to the Friday game against Niagara, Niagara's a team you should beat, and you should beat pretty handily. Like going into the game, we were like, we were hoping Ivan Kovic would start because it's an easier opponent. Maybe give Leanders the rest for the next night. Didn't work out that
Yeah,
way,
no,
which is fine. Leanders had a great game. Like Leanders,
he played fantastic in that game on Friday.
yeah.
He played even better on Sunday.
Hmm.
And no, yeah, no, I agree. They should have went with Ivan Kovic on Friday, give Leaners the break. Then you give Leaners against not Leaners. You give Ivan Kovic Saturday, which they did. Unfortunately, they lost that game, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But no, Leaners played fantastic yesterday.
Hmm.
He made an amazing glove save, robbed the guy, flash leather, pretty good. He played well when they needed him to play well, and yeah, so he got them the important 2 points they needed.
I think that's the game plan, or was the game plan at least, because nothing against Ivan
Yeah.
Kovic has been good, and we were talking about him last week. His stats speak for themselves, right? But I think when you look at a 3-3, JR is probably looking at it like Leanders is the guy. Put him in for 2 out of the 3
Mhm.
games. Give him a rest in the middle. It does make sense from that
Yeah.
point of view, for
Mhm.
sure, because that is what happened. But yeah, again, Leanders had a great game, and the Steelheads. It was only 1-0 after 1, which was pretty concerning, considering
Yeah.
the Ice Dogs. But they pulled through, and it was a good game. They scored there haven't been too many blowouts for the Steelheads like this season, and dating back to last season. But 7-2 is nice to see. It's nice to just enjoy a game where you don't really have to worry. There's no anxious nerves going into the third or possible overtime. And one notable thing to mention too, I think Angus McDonnell got suspended in this game. I didn't notice anything that happened. It
Yep.
probably was
He
in
got
between the whistles.
he got suspended from what I was told. He got suspended for a hit to the head,
Interesting.
but I don't recall seeing anything. Um, I heard it happened Saturday.
Oh, maybe it was Saturday then. Oh, that could be my fault because I heard something on the radio that sounded like it was his last game of the suspension. Yeah,
So
on Sunday.
could have, boy, we are like losing it. Did we? Because like, I was told it was Saturday because obviously we don't have Rogers TV and the CHL app, the subscription. But no, I was totally laid a hit to the head on Saturday in Barry, and he got a game for that, couple of games.
Yeah, I did say the 23rd, so that would be Friday. So something happened on Friday, which is yeah, and he
Oh, so it was Friday.
so it was
What?
Friday. It must have. It could be the OHL does this weird thing now where if there are hits to the head, sometimes if they're not called in a game, they'll go back review them, and then you might get suspended for them. So
Didn't know
that's probably something that they did there because I didn't notice anything. I don't even know if he took a penalty on Friday. I mean, I could look at the
that.
box score, but
No,
nothing really stood out to me in
I'll
that
pull it
way.
up here.
Yeah, nothing really stood out to me in that way. I don't even think he took a penalty that
Friday.
game.
Let me see
Oh, he
here.
did get a game
Box.
misconduct, but I think that was for
He
something in
did.
between the whistles. I don't know, man. Anyway, he got a 2 game suspension. I don't want to spend too much time on it. So he didn't play Saturday. He didn't play Sunday. He's eligible to return on March 1st, their next game, this Friday coming up at the PFFC. So he will be back in the lineup. But I didn't notice anything too notable there. So it must have been something
I'm
between the
so
whistles for sure.
confused. How did we miss him in the game
I
misconduct?
No, I'm telling you, it must have been something he. I don't know. Maybe it was something. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate.
Not at all. Me
So
either.
yeah, but I don't recall a vicious penalty that he took. That's all I'm saying.
No,
It
no.
wasn't anything like
Yeah.
that. So that okay, that was interesting, and that's a they took a hit on
Was it maybe when he ran? Did he run the goalie on Friday?
the goalie did get run, but I don't think it was that definitely wasn't intentional. It was he was
Hmm.
driving the net, and yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was that, but anyway,
It's the
lots of
suspension. We'll
speculation.
never know why.
We don't know yeah, they should put in the media notes exactly why, but I
Yeah.
don't know. Anyway, it's fine.
Journalism 101, guys. That's how we
It's
so we
fine.
know what we're doing here.
It's fine. Anyway, yeah, that was a great game on Friday. Really enjoyable, and like we were talking about, Mason Zabeski 2 goals. Like he came back. He had a month and a bit off
Yes,
due to
he's been
injury.
off for a bit.
He was on Saga 960 in the intermission yesterday as well, and he was talking about
Mhm.
how he's starting to really find his way again. Like he came back into the lineup, he feels good physically, but he's trying to find his game again, and I think he's found it finally. So he's looked good.
Yeah, and having him back in the lineup has been very good. I've been noticing him a lot on the ice, especially on Sunday. I noticed him a lot. And he's a key contributor to the team.
Hmm.
And he's projected to be drafted this year.
Yeah,
So, you know, obviously being hurt kind of drops it a bit, but keep playing hard and see where you'll get this year. Never know where you'll get taken in the draft
yeah.
if you keep playing hard.
And they're clicking right now, the whole team. So a lot of the guys that are draft eligible, they're really coming on as well. Like you just said,
Yeah.
Zabeski gets his 15th and 16th in this game, and he's
Hmm.
looked good. Like he's looking good on the ice, away from the puck as well. So he's really asserting himself back into game action, which is good.
Yeah.
Saturday, I don't know if you want to gloss over this game. There's really not much to. I don't know what it is about Barrie. They cannot beat them this year. They have a tough
Well,
time against them, I should say.
they've always had a tough time against Barry. It's just strange.
It is strange. Maybe it's some certain arenas. I don't know what it is. I know Barrie always has like a pretty vocal crowd,
Hmm.
and it was a Saturday night game, which is their bread and butter up in Barrie. But
Yeah, they do well there.
yeah, it did look like they were gonna get shut out for a minute. I mean, there was 5 minutes left in the third, and Von Richter gets the goal. And again, Zabeski in on the
He's done
action.
fantastic.
Yeah, Parker Von Richter. We haven't talked about him enough too. He's been great. Really, really good. Dare I say, defensive defenseman. He's been good.
Very, and he's a right-handed shot, something you like on your back end.
Yep.
He's even like you said, like he sniped one 2 weeks ago. I see him on the ice. He's blocking shots too. He's hitting. He's doing everything. So no, keep it up, man. Like it's good for the team. As much as you can get scoring from anywhere on the ice, you're doing well as a club, even if
Exactly.
you're losing. So
Yeah. If you can get
more,
guys chipping in here and there, even if you're losing,
yeah,
it's good. You want guys to be activated and into the games, right? Because you never know.
yeah.
You move into the next game like they did yesterday against Sudbury, and you're feeling good, right? So, one thing I will say about Von Richter is he's always noticeable, and sometimes that can be a
Hmm.
bad thing for certain defensemen. But I find it to be a good thing for him. I'm always noticing him making really, really smart plays, putting the puck to pretty good areas. Um, and there's a lot of steelheads. I shouldn't say a lot, but there are some games where I don't notice certain defensemen. But Von Richter, I always kind of notice uh, him in the action, which is a good thing. I think in his case, it's a good thing because sometimes you're like, damn, they're
Yeah.
they may always make bad plays, and that's why you notice them, right? But in his case, he looks good. But so you were at the game Sunday against the Sudbury Wolves, just to wrap up this weekend a little bit. You talked. It was Pucks and Paws 2.0, so that's always an interesting atmosphere. Dogs barking during the game. I always found very weird, but it's
Yeah,
cool. It's
it
cool. It's
threw me
different.
off a bit. I was like, I hear dog. I'm like, yeah, oh, that's right. It's Pucks and Paws. And then
Yep.
I'm like, oh man, they changed the goal song, and
Yeah.
then I realized it's for that one game. I'm like, all right,
It was
all right.
who let the dogs out, right?
No, it was the other one. I'm not even gonna try to sing it.
Okay. I don't know. We'll talk about it after, but
Should have been who let the dogs out.
all right. Yeah. That's always a classic. I remember the first Pucks and Paws game. It was weird because this one dog wouldn't like stop barking, and like I have a dog myself. I love dogs, right? But I was kind of like looking over like, are the players distracted? Because like you could just hear it throughout the arena. Like it was so funny. Like the dog just kept
Yeah,
barking like for a period.
he's just excited. He's just excited. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's cheering. It's good. So I always think that's an interesting atmosphere, and it gets people in the building. There's like that little community thing they build in the in the
It was
concourse for the
cute.
day. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
So that's always cool, and the fact that they won is nice too. And Lucas Carmirez, I want to talk about him from this game.
dude, he has been lovely on that bottom six
Hmm.
for the team.
He has
He's like
been.
a he's like a Zach Hyman light out there, just scoring left, right, and center, going in front of the net.
That's a great comparable. I mean, he's really turned it on second half of the season, man. This has been great. Like he literally has not stopped scoring. He's all over
No,
the ice.
I talked about him in my article last week.
Hmm.
Saying how they've been excuse me, but they've been getting scoring where they've needed it to, and he's been part of the part of the solution.
Yes. I mean, that's exactly what you were talking about in your article, where it's like, hey, you have the big time scores. You got the Porter Martones, who is, kind of cooled down, but it's okay because you're getting all this scoring from other guys now.
When
But
you
you're
in the
getting
playoff,
exactly right, and that's a good thing heading into playoffs. That's like best
Mhm.
case scenario, right? And you're, at the time that you wrote the article, you're getting scoring from Martone and Misa and the top guys. But what's the depth doing? And all of a sudden, like in the last couple of weeks, it's nobody else but the depth is scoring. I mean, you're getting goals from the game-winning goal yesterday was Gabriel Sherratt on your fourth line, right?
yeah,
Like,
he scored a night. It was nice too. So
yeah,
I'm trying to remember how the goal. I think it was a greasy one from the net,
yeah, I
but
did. He
he
like
got
tip, not a tip in, but like kind of like tapped it in
yeah.
on the side of the net,
So it
which
was a
was nice.
goal they needed, and it was nice that the depth scoring is getting involved now.
Yes, and another guy you talked about in your most recent article, Stevie Lescovar, he's putting up points all of a sudden. He's getting in on the action too.
He's getting
So
into the action, laying heads, blocking shots.
he is another guy who's just activated all the time. He's asserts himself physically, and now the last couple of weeks he's picking up a couple of points. He's scoring some decent goals, but in clutch times to put them
Yeah, I believe he
ahead.
had a goal Friday. Was it Friday he scored?
I think it was the Friday before that. I think it was last week he scored a goal. He only has like
He
three
scored.
on the season, I believe, but
He
timely
scored
goals.
recently. Um, but no, he. I talked about it in my article today, and he's basically, in my opinion, like one of their top guys, like him and Sharp on their defense.
Hmm.
Um, like I said in my article, he's a defensive defenseman in a way. Well, he is because he's
Absolutely.
blocking shots, making hits. Um, and they have him for what, another year or two?
I think
So,
another two. Yeah.
so it's even better for him because I compared him in my article to former Steelhead. I compared him to Stuart Percy, where when Percy came to the league, he played a similar way as Lescovar. Lescovar plays a similar way as Percy.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Percy started putting up offensive numbers. What did he add to his arsenal? He added a slap shot from the point, a one timer. So maybe if like Lescovar could add that in there, get a nice little slap shot, buddy. You never know. These teams aren't going to expect anything.
It's
So
true.
especially
And if you add something like that, teams won't expect it going into next year, let's say, right?
right.
So that's something he could definitely add to his skill set. And I just searched it up. They only have him for one more year. He'll be an OA next year.
Mhm.
But still, it looks like a great trade. Like guys like this don't like a lot of teams obviously draft for skill, speed, all this stuff. You don't really see too much of what he brings to a lineup too much anymore, right? Like there's a
Right.
couple guys on a team that you'll see bring what he brings. And he does it well. He does it effectively, and he gets under other players' skins like a lot. You ever see like,
Yeah.
yeah, like we go to games, we talk about it all the time, where we're like
He's
that
always in something.
everyone's pissed at him all of the time, and I think that's great. And
He laid a lot of nice hits yesterday.
yeah, no, and I think that's where he thrives when the games get. He's gonna get better when the playoffs start. Guys like this, right? So it's gonna be exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Another guy like that is Martone. I think he's gonna raise his level as well, and he's always in the mix too. Like we see it all the time. He's a threat to score, but guys are all over him all the time. Like he's hard to play against, and you like to have those types of players on your team.
You need more of that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And one thing I wanted to mention from the game against Sudbury as well, penalty trouble. They didn't fall into the hole this time. They didn't lose, but they have a problem still. This
These
is a
guys,
very bad problem heading into the playoffs.
it is, and it could cost them a series.
Yep.
Never mind a game, it can cost you a series like that.
Hmm.
So I clean it up, guys. They have to clean it up because they're taking silly penalties that they shouldn't be taking.
Even on Friday, you're killing the Ice Dogs on the scoreboard, but they're still taking dumb penalties. Like they were still in
Mhm.
the box and giving. There's a lot of 4-on-4 play. The Ice Dogs had a couple power plays. You're gonna win the game and you're comfortable against that team. But if you continue these bad habits, like they still won the game and it was a great game against Sudbury. But if you continue those habits, you could run into big problems later down
Especially
later in the
teams like
in the road.
North Bay.
Yeah,
Heck, even Sudbury capitalized on the power play yesterday.
they did. They were up 3-0 at one point, right? Was it
Two.
2-0? And then at one point they had 3 goals and all three of them were on the power play. I think it was 3-2,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all on the
Yeah.
power play. So
Yes.
you take away those opportunities. You play at 5-on-5. The Steelheads are a really good 5-on-5 team, and they could go with it. They can go at anybody 5-on-5, which is great, right? So it's just something they have to get under control, and I think they'll be okay. But if they can't, then that seems like their kryptonite right now. Because like I said, they are a very, very good 5-on-5 team.
They are. So they have to keep it at 5-5, maybe get some power plays here and there, but go to your strengths, not your negatives.
No, no, and hopefully they can keep working on that. But one other thing from the game yesterday, we have a new Steelheads record. We have Luke Misa with the most assists in a single season, which is great. And by the time it's all said and done, he'll probably have the most assists ever in Steelheads history,
Yep.
because he'll probably come back, or he definitely will come back next year.
They're,
So
they're all back next year.
yeah, so he'll probably put up crazy numbers again next year. He's been great, pure playmaker. Love his speed. He was also on I just wanted to mention that he was on the OHL News radio podcast this week, and they were interviewing him kind of about it being his draft season, and what things have changed, his brothers, stuff like that. And he gave a lot of the stereotypical answers, but there's a couple of things I thought were interesting. That he mentioned that the East is very tight, and they're trying to focus on like each game at a time, just try and pick up as many points as they can, and it's been working. I mean, you get 4 out of 6 this weekend. Last weekend they did well as well. So I like that from that standpoint. He says JR is a great coach. Everybody's buying in. It's all at the right time. They're all coming together, which is great. You love to hear that too. And JR is giving them like a lot of freedom to do, be creative in the offensive zone, which is great
That's
too.
trust right there.
Yes, and I think that speaks volumes, because you want to play in your structure, but he's letting them be creative. And I think that's why they're being so successful, like offensively, because obviously they have a lot of weapons, but they're great. Like it's so much fun to watch them in the
Yeah,
offensive zone.
it does get nerve-wracking watching them in the defensive zone, but seeing them come up for offense, it's always fun because you don't know what they're going to do next.
Exactly. And he did say that the team was gelling at the right time, which is you love to hear that as well. He
Yep.
thinks it's a really close group, and obviously it's a really young group, which we talked about earlier in the season. It was even younger at the beginning of the year, but he said they've added older, quote unquote older guys. They're 03
Yeah.
birthdays, but they added a couple older guys to the lineup, and they fit in perfectly, and everyone's getting together, getting along well, and everyone has a common goal they want to win, right? So that's great. You want to hear that because sometimes there's friction in teams, and the fact that he's saying that speaks volumes. I think JR's put together a good team, and they're all in the right mindsets, which is good.
And they can build this off to next year too, because
Exactly. Yeah, they're building a
most
really
of the
good
guys,
core.
most of the guys are all back next year.
Pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
They only have 2 OAs, I believe, and your goaltenders will be back. Your top scorers will be back.
I know Lucas is the one OA,
Yeah.
and then I think not Sharp, is it?
I believe. Yeah, I think Sharp is the other. No, wait. Is he an OA? I don't know. I'd have to
Well,
search it.
we can wait till the last game of the season when they do the
Yeah, we'll find out.
over.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact of the matter is the best players on your team will be back. I think.
Yeah.
Right. You're not. It's Mark Boudreau, by the way. It just came into my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. He's the other OA.
so Sharp's back.
Sharp should be back. I believe he's. No, Sharp is an OA as well. So they do have
But
3 OAs. I was mistaken. Sorry.
okay.
You know what? They started the year with 2, and I said 2, but I forgot about Locus, and they acquired Locus halfway through.
Right.
So that is what I was thinking. My bad. But yeah, all in all, great weekend, Mark. I mean, 4 out of 6 points. You would like to get 6 out of 6, especially with that performance they put up against Sudbury, but it didn't work out
Yeah.
against the Colts.
No, and like it is what it is. But like looking at their schedule in the upcoming games, it's not going to get any easier.
No.
Because well, sorry, one game should be a cakewalk. So I'll start off with it here. So they play Friday, Sunday, and then next Wednesday.
Hmm.
Friday they are hosting the Ottawa 67s. Dave Cameron is back in town with his team. Um, so that should be an interesting matchup. I believe Ottawa is a couple points behind Mississauga. Um, I,
That's a must win.
that is. And then Sunday is a win you should have because you're playing the Windsor Spitfires, who have not been a very good team, excuse me, this season.
Hmm.
And then next Wednesday, March the 6th, Darius, is our favorite game of the year. School day game
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I mean, we'll tee that up next week as well.
against the
But it's
Hamilton
against
Bulldogs.
the Brantford Bulldogs.
Sorry,
The
the Brantford
Brantford
Bulldogs.
Bulldogs. The first place Brantford Bulldogs.
I had a brain cramp there. 'Cause I keep forgetting that the Bulldogs logo hasn't changed. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, Hamilton. Oh, that's right. And we were talking about him yesterday too.
I know, right?
In my head.
But like you mentioned, to tee it up next week too, Ottawa sits right under you. So the Steelheads are in 5th. Ottawa's right under you in 6th. You don't want to give them an opportunity because they're 1 point behind you, right? You don't want to give them the opportunity to leapfrog you or even stay 1 point behind you. You want to
And the
create some
Steelheads
distance. You want to climb.
literally 2 points back of third.
Yeah,
So if you can get that third spot, you play Ottawa in the first round.
you would play Ottawa in the first round. And I mean, there aren't any desirable matchups in my eyes, but if you can at least get 4th place, if you can get home ice, if you play either Ottawa or Oshawa, because again, it's so close, like 3 points, 4 points difference. You just want home ice. So I think if you can crawl into 3rd place would be great. I mean, I think 1st and 2nd, while it's still mathematically possible, you're 7 points out of 1st right now. But
Yeah, but then they'd get Barry probably in the first round. So we don't want
right, no,
that.
yeah, then maybe maybe you don't want 1st or 2nd at that point, huh? But or I guess it would be 1st because Barry is pretty solidified there in that 8th spot, I think. But then, like you said, on Saturday they're playing Windsor, 3rd worst placed team in the entire league. They did have trouble with Windsor earlier. We were at that game earlier
Yep.
this year. They didn't look great, but I mean, they're starting to come together now. So it's a must-win weekend. It is a
Yep.
must-win two-part weekend here to stay in the race. And we'll say that about every game till the end of the season, realistically, because all the matchups are favorable to them, and within your conference and teams you need to beat. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a must-win.
We'll see what they do, right?
We'll
They
see what
they
they
could
do.
possibly be in they could possibly be in fourth. I want to say third. They could possibly be in third by the end of the weekend if all goes right for them and wrong for North Bay and Oshawa.
I think with the rest of the matchups too, because they play North Bay again before the end of the season. They just beat Sudbury yesterday, like we talked about. They hold their fate in their hands. I think that's the most important thing to, realize
Yeah.
before the end of the season. Like they very much down the stretch, whatever you want to do, wherever you want to fall. If you want to be third, get that desirable matchup. If you can't get the 1 or 2 spot, get the third place. You can do it if you want. Just
Yeah.
win games. Just win games. And they have a lot of I mean, we'll tee up each weekend as we go, but they play Ottawa again in a few weeks. They play Barrie again in a few weeks. They play Niagara, who's not a great team, 2 more times, right? You need to pick up 4 points out of those games, right?
Mhm.
So North Bay again on the last game of the season. It's going to be interesting. That could come down to seeding, the last game of the year. So it's going to be exciting, man.
They have a tough end of their schedule here.
It is a little tough, but it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It should be very exciting.
Yeah.
And they also have a Tuesday home game coming up. That's a weird one.
Yeah, the schedule has been a little everywhere the last couple of
Schedule,
years, I
guys,
find.
go back to 7:30 games, please.
Yeah, I'm very used to. I'm all for change, by the way. Like if you try something new and it works, I'm all for that. But I'm very used to 7 o'clock Friday and 2 o'clock Sunday. I'm
See,
very
I'm
used to
used to
that.
7:30 Friday, 2 o'clock
That's
Sunday.
true too, actually. And I think it would be easier for people to get to the rink if you gave them an extra half hour. But alas, that's where we are with seven
Yeah,
and two.
yeah. Hear me out. Sunday 4 o'clock games aren't favorable for them.
Why do you say?
I think Saturday 4 o'clock games
Mm-hmm.
are more favorable because it's Saturday you could kind of have more leeway to your afternoon. Sunday, 4, whatever. Game ends by 6:30, 7 o'clock. It's a
Mm-hmm.
late dinner, you go home, and then your weekend's kind of over. But yeah, the
And I
Sunday.
mean, we've talked about it. It's a Leafs town,
Yep,
and that would lead right into the Leafs.
I know. But hey, Sunday 2 o'clock, you're done by 4. Get some lunch, late lunch, dinner. You can relax for the rest of your Sunday.
It's true. It is
Super.
true. Um, we'll see. Maybe the schedule switches up next year. We have no idea what's going to happen now.
Yeah, I
It
think
could be a
Brampton
little
back in
different,
the
right?
Leafs have a lot of Saturday games too. So
Um, I wanted to say too, it's pretty ironic that the Steelheads and Battalion play on the last game of the year in Mississauga. I think that's pretty ironic because they were Brampton.
finishing off the way it started.
Yeah, against the former rivalry, I guess. But I
I
mean,
guess
it is
so.
still a rivalry. But you know what I mean, the Battle of Peel Region at least. But
Hear me out. Wouldn't it be fitting for Ottawa and Mississauga to play in the first round? Because then Dave
Dave
Cameron gets
Cameron,
one last shot at his, well, not the Steelheads, but his former
former
city.
team. Yeah,
Yeah,
former team.
former
I
city.
mean, it's the
Yeah,
same franchise, same building.
yeah, just different name.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah,
the record is still
could
there.
be. I don't know,
Um,
man. It could be. It's looking like I don't know. We don't know. It's gonna be crazy, but I think it could end up being Ottawa or Oshawa that we see in the first round.
See what happens. Give me
We'll
a
see what
different matchup.
happens.
I like to see Ottawa. These have good playoff matches with Ottawa.
They did. There were a couple good battles there. So that would be nice too. I mean, a couple good battles with Oshawa too that I remember fondly. 2017, which was
Yeah,
great.
that's a good.
But
Yeah, no, I think
but
for Ottawa, didn't they play them in 2017 when they went to the finals?
yeah, first round and then second round was Oshawa.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. That was
yeah,
that. Yeah.
it was
No,
good.
I remember. I think it was '09 or '10. Mississauga played them, and like that went to 7. And like, I remember. I think I don't know if Anderson or Carosi started. But like one of them like stole Game 7,
Yeah,
and then like that's it. So they've had some good playoff years against these teams.
definitely. So and they'll be exciting this year still too. So it's gonna be good. But yeah, any last thoughts on heading into next week? What they need to do? Anything?
Once again, to win, get the points you need, and get out. You should. I understand. How should I put it? I could see them winning Friday and Sunday, whatever, 4 points. Next Wednesday's game, I understand, it's Brantford and plus school day games, as you and I know, are never in their favor. Never.
No, but it's funny you mentioned that because it'll be interesting because you can feed off of a crowd and the
I
kids go
can't even,
crazy.
yeah, but I can't even remember the last time they won a school day game.
It wasn't this year, but they've
2011?
no. Definitely 2018 or 19, I think. But
That's
um,
long.
yeah,
That's just me. That's what shows I've followed their school day games.
right. But no, I think when you have a crowd behind you and 5,000 screaming kids, it's gonna be it puts something into you. So it could work in their favor. I think. Hopefully,
I mean,
we'll
hey,
see.
I'll be working on Wednesday, so I mean, you're off. Why not head down to that game and go watch?
We'll see how it works out. So maybe I might end up there. Who knows? I've done a couple school day games. It's crazy.
It is.
It
I
is
actually know.
nuts.
I went to the one where they played Belleville a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Was it
yeah.
Belleville? Yeah. So,
But
yeah.
there was a snowstorm, so they made tickets. There was no tickets. It was just like if you come, it's free. And they were playing Kitchener. A bunch of people came from Kitchener. It was weird. It was weird, man. But it was like a bad snowstorm. Like none of the kids showed up because there was no
Oh, when
school.
was this?
2019, I think.
Before COVID. So it was right before COVID.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was like February 2019, I think. So
I remember
that
I
was
went to
that
one
was
back in high
interesting.
school. Grade 12. Went to the one in grade 12. That was
Yeah,
fun. They played well. That was good. Good
yeah.
days.
Fun times. Fun times. School day games are
Oh,
always
yeah.
good. Good for the kids and good for the players too because the building's crazy. So
And it feels like yeah,
yeah.
something nice.
So depth scoring has been good. Hopefully they can continue this and keep gelling together into the playoffs. They've been doing very well, and yeah, I mean they just have to win this weekend. Just get those 4 points.
Exactly. You get the 4 points and move on. So we'll see what they do.
Yep. Well, we want to thank everyone for watching and listening. Whatever your bread and butter is, whatever you want to
Yeah.
do. You don't have to watch us the whole time. You can listen, right? You
And
just set it up and listen. It's great. But yeah, we thank everyone, and thank you everyone who's reading Mark's articles. And if you want to check out some of Mark's articles, they will be in the description as well.
yeah, appreciate it. Also, big thank you to Steve Escobar for, I guess, reading the article I did on him today. So that means a lot. Haven't had
Awesome.
too many players read my stuff as far as I know, just parents. So it's good to know that players are keeping up. I guess keep what's the word I'm looking for? I guess stay tuned. Not keep. Stay tuned because I'll be doing a different article series as the season kind of goes down a bit on just some Mississauga OHL moments, kind of
Hmm.
a little maybe 3 article or 4 article series I'll do for a bit, and then talk about some cool moments that happened in the city, what I remember fondly on, and what Darius remembers, and
Yes.
see what
I'll
talk
probably
about
help
it.
you out with that. There's some big moments. So
For sure, for sure. I already have
um,
an idea for the first article. I can't say what it is, so
now you
yeah,
gotta stay tuned, man. You gotta lock in and stay tuned to Mark's rating. No, but that'll be
yep.
fun heading into playoffs too. A lot of big moments, and this will be the last playoffs in Mississauga, so it's gonna be a big deal. It's gonna be fun.
Go on a run. Go for one more.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you for watching and listening, everyone. We will see you next week, and hopefully the Steelheads will come out of it with another 4 points.